have to accept whatever it is that's going on in your life, whatever reality check that you need, whether your relationship isn't happy, whether your financial situation isn't good, or you need to face what you're contributing to a relationship. Whatever it is that you need to face and really sit with yourself in silence, it's like, hey, this is my thing. Just face that thing and stop avoiding it, because we avoid so much stuff. We avoid it through countless reading stuff, countless TV watching, binge eating, whatever it takes. We eat so many different things just to comfort us, to soothe us, just to forget about the problem.
Today's guest is Kesha Chanel, abundant life coach, author, speaker, healer. Life requires an unshakable trust in your own decision making and an inner knowing that you are the bomb.com and you deserve it all. Don't have that? Many don't. In her signature talk, Your Voice Matters, Kesha will highlight the 3 points that keep many stuck: hiding in plain sight, struggling with identity, and damaging decisions. Then she will shift your thinking with the 5 steps of healing and rebuilding confidence, her Feel Better formula. I'm just loving all the words you're using here. Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah. You will also learn how to use your newfound confidence to make choices and use your voice. She is the creator of successful coaching programs like 24 Karat Confidence, Girl Get Up and Glow, and has hosted many Make Life Whoa workshops that help people use their voice and express themselves. She inspires, encourages, and supports many women and a few men through life's challenges like marriage issues, divorce, codependency, suicide ideations, and more. Welcome, Kesha.
Hi.
Wow, I'm absolutely loving what I've just read out. I
I'm loving
generally
it.
am absolutely excited about this conversation. I think I've got a lot to learn as well here. So thank you.
Wonderful.
Well, after reading all of that out, can you possibly pick one? What is one of the most courageous things you have done?
I think one of the most courageous things that oh wow, gosh, from all that, now that you read all that, I think probably the most courageous thing I've ever done was the Make Life Wow conferences, workshops that I started, and what they came out to be. Because I had those conferences because I needed to receive all the stuff that I gave. I needed to learn how to use my voice. I needed to receive, and in those workshops, we got physical touch. We gave each other hugs and gave each other support, and I spoke about how important it is that you go for the different things that you want and to make life wow, instead of just feeling mediocre and every day just kind of being blah, 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 blah. Having that courage to say what it is that you want, and then having that comfortability of like, it's okay that I asked for this thing. If somebody says no, it's okay, but having that courage to speak what you want and go for the things that you want, that was the most courageous thing that I did. And then everybody that was in the workshop benefited from it too. So that was the most courageous thing that I've ever done. I think the second courageous thing, because when I was thinking about it before, when you asked, what was the courageous thing I've ever done, was going to Europe. I went to Europe for my birthday last year by myself.
Wow.
And when I went to London, was my first stop. And so that for me was like the most courageous, because it was just like, I'm here for myself. What do I do? So for me, that was incredibly courageous. But when you read my bio, I was like, those Make Life Wow workshops were pretty awesome. And yeah, and that was just courageous to say, I can do that too. So yeah, I think that was the most courageous.
Wow, that is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And we've only started the conversation. Kesha, share about how your life started out, because we're going to talk a bit about the books, because I know you shared about your sexual abuse. I've been sexually abused as a child as well, so we have that. So yeah, I know how important it is to get the message out there, and that's part of the work I do as well. So yeah, tell me about that, please.
I was molested when I was a girl for a couple of years. It's hard to pinpoint the exact years, but I want to say it was about 4 years. And it really put a lot of shame in my
Mhm.
heart and my spirit, and a lot of expectation of I'm not going to get whatever I want, so don't even try. So that's the way it set my life up. And I realized that I had that same way of thinking for years, endless years. And I didn't realize that that's what my level of thinking was until after I got divorced, until after I got to be an empty nester, until after all these other things that I thought was affecting my life as an adult. I didn't recognize that it was my childhood that had put in so much low self-esteem, my childhood that had put in all these negative expectations of my life and how I thought my life was going to go. I had saw my life through a filter of just pain and low expectations, even though there were periods of happiness
Mhm.
overall.
Mhm.
The view of my life was very sad, very tragic. And in my research and becoming a coach, I realized that anybody that has had trauma, and it is 223.4 million people in the United States now. That doesn't say anything about the UK. You
Wow.
know, how many people that have had
Yeah.
trauma, and you see your life through a lens of pain. And
Mhm.
I had no idea until the research and becoming a coach myself and realizing that that was it. It was nobody else. It was, it was time to stop blaming other people. And
Mhm.
that's
Mhm.
what, how my life started as a child.
And
Mm,
you touched slightly on the shame. I totally agree because
mm,
there's a huge amount of shame. And,
mhm.
it wasn't until later on that I realized actually that's not my shame to hold on to either.
Exactly,
So, yeah,
exactly.
there's
And
a
I
lot
find it
in
so
that.
interesting that we, as trauma survivors and sexual abuse survivors in
Mhm.
particular, that we have
Mhm.
shame about something that we did not do. And I
Yeah,
think that is so fascinating that we have this thing of like so much shame, like we've done this awful, dirty thing, and we didn't do anything. So it's like,
exactly.
why do you feel like you're this horrible person? So it's just like, but it's just the negativity, it's the stories that run through your head. It's the stories. It's all of it is.
Mhm.
It's a bunch of stories.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree
Mhm.
more. Absolutely. So, what took you on a journey of becoming an abundant life coach, author, speaker, and healer then? Was it your experiences?
Yes, it was my experiences. It was when I got a divorce. And because again, I thought that everything, all of my problems were based on my marriage and based on other
Mhm.
people and me people pleasing and stuff like that. It was because of other people. I wanted to get their approval and they didn't give me
Mhm.
their approval. My husband cheated and we got divorced. It was like, it was all because of that. But when he was gone, why are you feeling some type of way now? When he was, and then when it was like, okay, now all my focus be on my children. And then when my children were gone, why are you sad now? And so it was just like when I got to the root of to the root of to the root that it was me. I was like, okay, I'm gonna do some work. And when I did the work, that's when I was like, okay, I gotta help other people through this stuff. And it's like, and even though I'm not 100% every day, I'm so much further than I was before. And so I just want to be able to share some light and share some hope that, especially as sexual
Mhm.
abuse trauma survivors, we have this thing of pain and like, we're not going to get out of it. We're always going to find bad guys. Men are always going to treat us like crap. We're always going to get the short end of the stick. Things are never going to work out for us. We have this negative view of the world
Mhm.
and it's not true. And so I want to be able to help people see that it's not true. Your life does not have to be like that. And it's a choice that we make. So
Yeah,
that's what I want to help people do and see.
absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And I love the fact, you're a healer because I think it's so important to heal. But would you just like to touch on why it's so important?
It's so important so you can have peace. Because again, like when the stories
Mhm.
that were running through my head constantly, and still sometimes they do want to take a little sprint in there and run in there. And it's just like you have to be able to combat those stories. You have to be able to combat all these things of your past. Your past will continue to chase you. It continue to threaten you and continue to taunt you until you say no. That is my past. My present, I'm good. My present, I'm sitting here talking to a beautiful lady who's across the world right now. It's an incredible blessing. Right now, I can hear and see and smell and touch and taste. Right here, the sun is shining. I don't have to constantly think about my past, but it is a choice and it takes consistency and it takes diligence and it takes intention. So it's not like the easiest thing to do, but it can be done. And
Of
but it's
course.
important and it's for your own survival. That is, and not only just for your survival, we can survive anytime just by breathing. It's for your thriving. It's for your thriving, and that's
Mm,
the purpose of the Feel Better formula, so that you can, get to a better place in your life, a place of abundance and a place of peace and feeling good about yourself.
absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Absolutely. So I am really excited to ask you. You are the creator of a successful coaching program, 24 Karat Confidence. Girl, get up and glow. Tell me more. Tell me all. I
So
love
24
your
karat.
wording. I just
Oh,
love
thank
the
you.
wording.
Thank you. So 24 Karat Confidence is strictly about confidence. It is a workshop. It's a 3-day workshop that I do. And it is, well, I did it a long time ago. I haven't done it in a little while. But it's just about confidence, about different things to release. And it's like how confidence is built as a child,
Mm,
and different things that you can do to build your confidence, and why you want to make sure that you keep the confidence, which is part of the Feel Better formula. And I take the 24 Karat Confidence class and I put it into the Feel Better formula, pretty much. So, but it's specifically just about confidence, 24 Karat Confidence. And the Girl Get Your Glow Up is revamped into I Feel Better Already. But it was about, when I did Girl Get Your Glow Up, it was, I had lost 30 pounds. I had started attracting better men, and my credit score went to 800. And it was just like, wow, I did all these different things in my life. Wow, 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 wow. And it was just like, I just wanted to share with women how I did this stuff. And it's just like, yay. And so I created the class called Girl Get Your Glow Up. But that is all, but all those different things I put into my Feel Better formula, which is my I Feel Better Already class, my course that is on my digital course now. So yeah,
mhm.
it's all revamped.
Wow, that's absolutely brilliant. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. Yes. So why is identity so important in everything we do? Because you talk about identity as well.
Well, identity is so important in everything we do, particularly as sexual trauma survivors, because we have this identity of shame. We have this identity as, particularly with our kind of abuse, of like victim. And if you
Mm,
keep the identity of victim for a prolonged time, and like it's 40 something years for me, that identity of victim, that's what you stay in continually. And as a victim, you don't think you can have any success. You don't think that you can have love. You don't think that you
mhm,
can make money. You don't think anything good about yourself, even though you can see everybody on social media winning. You can take 10 million classes that say,
mhm,
just do this, just do this, just do this. It's going to be great. Just say these affirmations. It's going to be great. You can do all that stuff. But if you have this mindset and this identity as a victim, you're going to stay in that mindset as a victim, and you're not going to actually even attempt all the things that you've learned and all the things that you paid for. So when you shift your identity to, for my book is very, I won't say very religious, but it is very scripture based, and it has a lot of prayers and it has a lot of quotes. It's very so your identity is shifted as a child of God. I'll say child because some men have bought my book as well. So as a child of God, and with that identity, for the being that created you, he created you as magnificent. He created you in his own image. So he created you as royalty. He created you as spectacular. He created you as
mhm,
glowing. He created you as effervescent. He created you as just shining. He wants you to shine. All those different things that you can take a breath of fresh air and just breathe of just hope. He wants you to have all these things. That is the identity that he wants you to have. And that is the identity that is actually hidden from you. So that's the purpose of the Feel Better formula. And that's the reason that identity is so important.
absolutely. Love it. I think I'll be saying that throughout this whole podcast. You carry on chatting. Absolutely. But on a serious note, yeah, I absolutely resonate with everything you're saying because it is so important. We can
Mhm.
have identities from everything and they do affect us. It's time to let go. It's time to be, I think as we
Mhm.
get older, we tend to think, oh, I'll just take another course. I'll just do this or do that. And I, for myself, am learning, strip it all away. It's about letting go of it all, stripping it all down, not adding more to it.
That's so big right there. You said it right there. Not
Mm.
adding more to it. Because I think, and what I've been a victim of, not that's a poor choice of word. What I have done in the past I'm not going to say victim.
Mm,
I'm not going to say guilty.
mm,
What I've done in the past is thinking that, okay, I'll just take another course and I'll just
mhm,
do this. And I'll just do this. And what I find and what you will find is that everybody says the same thing differently.
mm,
Everybody says the same thing, even though like in different circles, like spiritual people that don't believe in Jesus, they believe in crystals and stuff like that. The law of attraction people, Jesus, Christians like me, and people who hug trees and nature and stuff like that. Everybody says the same thing.
mhm,
Everybody says the same thing. We all love God. We all got to love ourselves. And we all have to see ourselves in a different way and tell ourselves something different. Everybody says the same thing in a different way. And so it's just like, if you say, well, maybe I'll go here, maybe I'll do that. Everybody says the same thing. No matter how much money you spend, it's about what you do. It's like
yeah,
what you
and not a,
do
yeah,
and what you
absolutely.
believe. And so what you got to do is get to the
Mm,
root of it. And so that's the purpose. So like you said, stripping it down.
mm,
Stripping it down. Don't add no more to it. Strip that stuff down. Yeah. But
yeah.
that's such a good point, Anita. Really good point.
Thank you. Yes, and I think you know, like you said, I totally agree. It is everybody says the same thing, but it's the way they're
Mhm.
saying it, and
Yeah,
it's all up to us. It's
exactly.
what we hear,
Mhm.
and that goes nicely onto my next question because you will also learn how to use after doing that course and identity. You will also learn how to use your newfound confidence to make choices, to use your voice. Tell me more about that. In your experience, how have people found their voice and used it after going through your courses?
Well, I think the biggest thing is like the courage to use your
Mhm,
voice because especially if you've been in a place, because I even find like when you're alone and there's nobody to talk to,
mhm,
like I found it like when I first started learning how to use my voice, it was at home and alone because I would be singing and I would like just be mouthing the words to a song. And I
mhm,
thought
mhm,
about why am I mouthing the words? There's nobody here to hear me. There's nobody here to hear if I'm singing off key. There's nobody here to say, oh, can you keep that down? Can you turn it down? It's like, wait a minute. Why am I not using my voice? My voice matters. And so I would start using my voice and singing. I was like, hey, this kind of feels good, to hear what your voice sounds like, to hear, this thing, especially if it's a song that you like. I'm one of those people, well, I mean, like, I like to sing, I like to dance.
yeah.
Both of them, I'm not like professionally trained in either. So it's just like shower singing and belt it out, but it's just like it makes me feel good.
Mm,
And like that was like the first layer. But then it was also like asking for what I needed, like at a restaurant. How many
mhm,
people, when they go to a restaurant and they have the simplest things, like perhaps lately I've been trying to watch my carbs and my bread. I'll go and ask for a burger with no bun. How
mhm,
many times, if you ask for a burger with no bun and they give you a bun, you don't send that thing back? You just take the bun and take it off. If you ask for no bun, you need to say, hey, I asked for no bun. You don't say it sassy. You just say, oh, I asked for no bun. Can I get no bun, please? Or even they can say, no, I didn't hear you say that. Nope, I'm pretty sure I did. And if I didn't, okay, but I'd still like no bun, please. Can you, ask for what you need? As trauma survivors,
absolutely.
how long it took me to do that, when I think about how old I was when I actually did it, I think I was maybe 45, maybe
Mhm,
46, something crazy like that. And it was just like, how long did it take me? But this whole fear of the word no, this whole fear of, as one
mm,
scripture that says, do not fear their faces. I think he was telling Joshua about, and the transition of being a leader. And he was like, oh, what's going to happen? Do not fear their faces. This whole thing of like, they're not going to be happy with what I say, or they're going to say no, or I'm going to upset them. Do not fear their faces. Just say what it is that you want. But how hard is that? So we have to ask God for the courage to do these things. And that's another scripture that he has, do not fear, be courageous and be strong. So, because he's always with us. So but it's just a matter of actually practicing these things and a matter of doing these things and believing that everything's okay. But it's not the easiest thing when you first start. It's like, oh my God, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? And then it's just like, okay, I need to do this. So
mhm.
it's just a matter of just getting it done. But it does take practice. It really does take practice.
Yeah.
It takes inspiration and it takes hope because it's like if you feel like you're gonna disappoint this person, you'll be like, I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna do it, And you'll just be in that
Mm.
stuck place for a long time. But I was like that for ages. Like I said, till about 45, I think.
Wow.
Mm.
Yeah, really. And I think it is. It's been having the confidence to actually do that. And like you say, what can possibly go wrong? It's just
Mm.
about speaking up. The
Mhm.
chances are they're going to give you, oh no, never, or, yes, I didn't hear you,
Mhm.
or they might even look at you and think,
Mhm.
oh gosh, it's one of those customers. But at the end of the day, we've got a right
Exactly.
to express.
Or we're
And
afraid that they'll spit in our food or
yeah,
something crazy, and that's but you can't think that way, you have to think positive. It's like, "Okay, this is what I asked for, and this is what I deserve, so I'm just gonna try it." So
absolutely. So you are the Amazon best-selling author of the books I Feel Better Already, Your
yay.
Journey of Self-Discovery and Self-Confidence, and Cry, Forgive, Learn, Move On. Tell me more. I'm loving your titles. And
Oh, thank you.
I can already see how that encapsulates you
Thank
and
you.
the journey. So, on about walking your talk, absolutely.
Yes, it is all about walking the talk. So the first one is Cry, Forgive, Learn, Move On, and I was a part of a compilation of 10 authors, and all of our stories were about crying, forgiving, learning, and moving on. And
Mhm.
each one of us has a chapter, and my chapter was about how the molestation that I suffered as a child affected my marriage and life. And like I said, I didn't realize it until after I got divorced, and I had to learn how to
Mhm.
forgive myself for all the mistakes that I made in my marriage and in my life so that I could, move on and be happy and at peace. And then my second book is the one that I did by myself. Well, not myself. I've had the author coach is the
Yeah.
same one that had the compilation. She was my
Mhm.
author coach and my publisher for I Feel Better Already. And so that book is about my feel better formula and how you heal from anything. It's I feel better already. Your journey to self discovery and self confidence. And that
Mhm.
book has my 5-step feel better formula and the way that you heal from anything and feel better after anything. And that is 5 steps. The first step being acceptance. You have to accept whatever it is that's going on in your life, whatever reality check that you need, whether your relationship isn't happy, whether your financial situation isn't good, or you need to face what you're contributing to a relationship. Whatever it is that you need to face and really sit with yourself in silence and it's like, hey, this is my thing. Just face that thing and stop avoiding it because we avoid so much stuff. We avoid it through countless reading stuff, countless TV watching, binge eating, whatever
Mhm.
it sex. It's so many different things just to
Mhm.
comfort us and to soothe us, just forget about the problem. And that's because there's so much going on in the world right now. So it's like
Yes.
I get it, and it works for a little while until it
Mhm.
doesn't.
Yeah.
So then you have to make that acceptance and then make a decision. So second step is decision. So when you make a decision, you've moved on, you either decide you can move on or you decide to stay where you are. And both decisions are fine because they're yours to make. Now, even not making a decision is still a decision because you can
Absolutely.
decide to stay comfortable, continue eating, continue in the relationship that's just kind of so. Continue with the job that you're like, okay, you just want to be in the middle and just stay out the way, and that's fine too. Or you can decide to move on and get better. And either
Mhm.
way, you still got to go through the whole process, and that's the decision. And so then the third step after that is to release, and you release the shame,
Mm.
blame, guilt, expectation, all the different emotions that come up because whatever decision you make, whether you decide to stay where you are or you decide to elevate, there will be emotions that come up every single
Mhm.
time. You're going to feel some type of way about it. And you have to release all those emotions. And then after you release the emotions, then you can build up the confidence. And when you release the emotions, it creates a space of peace. When you let all that go, like you said, strip it down. When you can strip it down, that creates the space for confidence to come in, that creates the space for peace to come in, that creates that space that you need. And so when you build up your confidence, that's where all the stuff from 24 karat confidence comes in. Feeling good about yourself and the quotes and the scriptures. And it's just like, yeah,
Mhm.
that feels great, that kind of stuff. And after you build up the confidence, one thing that I know for certain, you have to fight to keep that confidence that you built up. And that's
Mm.
the fifth step. Because you can feel great watching our podcast and listening to our conversation. It's like, yeah, I can feel better already. Yeah, I'm going to get that book and I'm going to feel good. Thank you, Anita, for this podcast. I feel on top of the world. And then when the podcast is over and you go home and you look at your four walls, what are you thinking about? What's going
Mm.
on in your head? Or the next day, your kids get to fight. You're looking at your bank account or whatever it is. You have to keep. You have to fight to keep that confidence that you built up, and that's the fifth step, which is fight. And that's my feel better formula.
It's absolutely beautiful. And absolutely, I love the way you explained it, because it's all very well doing the work while you are somewhere, but then it's continuing to rebuild that confidence, like you said, the
Hmm.
fifth point. And that's what it's all about, that continuous journey. Like anything, it's like a muscle. You got to keep on doing it. You don't do it, you don't use it, we lose it.
Exactly. And that's the I think that's probably the hardest thing that I've had to learn about my healing journey is that it's a journey, because I've gotten to so many places that I was like, okay, yeah, I'm doing so good, I'm proud of me. And then it's just like I thought I had gotten over this, that I had gotten over this, and something comes back, especially like with dating. Oh, that
Mm.
has been such a roller coaster for me because it's like you think that you heal from this one thing, and then it's just like boom, another level. So it's like okay, I had to go back to square one, and but it's like what we tell ourselves. So it's just like it's a journey, and it's an ongoing thing that we have to work on, and we have to fight to keep that confidence that we built up, because otherwise, what's the alternative? We are the ones that are responsible for that feeling of joy. We can create that, so it's important that we do.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Keisha, what is one of the most important lessons you have learned so far in life? A double loaded question, but because you've had many lessons. So, I'm excited to hear your answer for that.
I think the most important lesson is twofold. It's tell yourself a
Mhm.
better story and give yourself some grace. I think because, like I was
Mm.
saying, how it's levels to it, and like with the healing journey being a journey, it's very
Mhm.
easy to get discouraged. It's like I thought that I had been better, and especially I'm 51. I'm gonna be 52 next month, and I really was just like I thought that I had done this, and I thought that I had done this. And it was just like I did a thing with Mel Robbins last
Mhm.
year, and she did this thing called like the beginning of the year. And she said, just evaluate your year. I forgot what it was called, but it was just like a New
Mhm.
Year thing. And so I created a success board. There's vision boards, and I create a vision board every year. But I had never done a success board. And I had looked,
Wow.
and she didn't say about doing a success board. She was saying, look at your look at your year with all the things that
Mm.
happened. But what I took it a step further, and I created a success board to see all those different things that had happened in a year. And I put it on a board to remind me of the successes that I had done. And so what I realized is that last year I had a lot of depression, I had a lot of pain, I had a lot of hurt, I had a lot of
Mm.
setbacks. But even so, I had a lot of shit go on. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. I did all this in depression. Because last year I went to Europe. I went to
Mm.
Europe. I went around the world. And so it's like, wow, that's amazing. And so it's just like, you have to give yourself grace. We are so
Mm.
much better off. We are so much more blessed. We are so much more amazing than we give ourselves credit for. The devil has a way of taking the smallest thing, the thing that you really, really want, the thing that just seems so far out of your reach, and dangling it like a carrot. And you don't have this, and you ain't gonna ever get this, and all these stories that he tells you. And as long as you continue to believe that, and as long as you continue to focus on that, that's what you'll have. And so you have to give yourself grace, and you have to recognize
Mhm.
that it's a journey to have people in your corner, to have things like success boards that you create. Is like, hey, I've come a long freaking way, and I'm going to
Mhm.
continue to go this long freaking way. So it's about what we tell ourselves, and it's about what we believe. And so and the thing is that it's a journey, because there's sometimes that I feel really, really good about myself. And then sometimes I'm like, I want more. And
Yeah.
so you have to give yourself grace, and you have to just trust God that everything is going to work out in your favor, even when it doesn't feel like it, even when it doesn't look like it, even when it's just, again, like it doesn't feel like it, or it doesn't, you don't think that you don't expect it. So it's really important to trust him and just know that everything's going to be okay.
That's absolutely beautiful. And yeah, absolutely. And I think, to be honest, yeah, what you're saying is it is absolutely great because it's true for each and every one of us. So, Kesha, tell me, you have a course that goes with your book. Tell me all about that, please.
I do, and it's called I Feel Better Already as well. And it is a course that it's basically me reading the book and acting it out and sharing about each day. So each
Mhm.
day of the book is it's either a quote or a scripture, and the next is my explanation of the quote or scripture, and then it is a quote from somebody else. The quote or scripture is a quote from me or a scripture from the Bible, my explanation of it, and then a quote from somebody else that kind of goes with it, kind of reemphasizes it,
Mhm.
and my explanation, and then a tip on how you can incorporate it into your life, a question that you can ask yourself to kind of dig deeper a little bit, and then walk it like I talk it. What happens to me when I live that day that I'm reading, and then a prayer to incorporate it into your life and seal it up. So each day, and there are 6 days for each step, and there are 5 different steps. So it's a 30-day journey.
Mhm.
After the end of the 6 days, the seventh day is a call with me. And it's a group call. So it's a whole group coaching platform. But each of the 6 days are videos. So it'll be 6 videos and one call. So it's a wonderful time of connection. It's a wonderful time of kind of getting it into yourself, because one of the ways that you heal is with connection and it's
Yeah.
with conversations and recognizing, hey, I'm not alone. It's like when you share what's going on with you, as in the same way other people share it, it's just like, okay, I'm not that bad off, and there's nothing wrong with me after all. So a lot of times that's what we need, that reminder that there's nothing wrong with me, and we need that space to feel safe, that space to say like, okay, I can get my heart out. And with these 5 weeks, I can just get these things out, and just like, so you can practice using your voice, that you can, feel better about yourself and kind of releasing all those different things, accepting things, making a decision about things, releasing things, building up your confidence and fighting to keep it all in those 5 weeks.
That's
Yeah, and of course.
absolutely brilliant. I'll put the links in the show notes so anybody,
Okay, great.
reach out to you and you can help them with that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, if anybody has had that problem with sexual abuse, or even just feeling bad about yourself, or any kind of
Mhm.
trauma at all,
Mm.
it's important that you get that thing worked through, so that way you can start feeling better about yourself, especially if you're wondering like, why is everything not working out, or I'm just feeling some type of way. It's something that you need to dig into yourself and just kind of sit with yourself and look at. So it'd be really helpful for anybody.
Keisha, you have given us so many tools, daily steps to anyone that wants to start rebuilding confidence. What is your key takeaway?
I think my key takeaway is you have to come to a decision about when you're ready, because you can take a lot of courses and take a lot of classes, but it's not
Mhm.
until you're ready that you'll actually do something about it. Because I went through that period for a long time. I've spent a lot of money on myself. And it was like, but also I spent a lot of money, like spent a lot of time in in this free space, you know,
Mhm.
I'll listen to this for free and I'll listen to this for free. But until I started investing myself, but it was levels to it. I invested myself, and it was just like, okay, I invested because I really want to believe this, but I didn't quite believe it. So, but it takes levels. And once you start investing in yourself, you'll start believing like, yourself a little bit more. But the more you invest, the more attention that you pay, and the more you start to feeling better. But it's levels to it. It's layers that you peel, and layers that you can get to that stuff. So I think the biggest takeaway is like to take you are worth the money and the time to invest in yourself.
Absolutely. I can't echo that enough. So, where can the listeners find you online, your books?
My books are on since you're in the UK, I'd say Amazon. My books are on Amazon, both of them. I am on Instagram as I am Kesha Chanel. On Facebook, I am Kesha Chanel Palmer. On TikTok, I Feel Better Already. And LinkedIn, I am Kesha Chanel. And that's KESHACHANEL.
Yeah, I've got all your links again. I shall put them in the show notes. So please go ahead and connect. Thank you for sharing your insightful wisdom and knowledge with us today. And by doing so, you have helped so many others, especially by doing the work on yourself first. I really want to acknowledge you for that, Kesha Chanel.
Thank you, Anita. And thank you so much for having me. And I acknowledge you for doing the work, for even having the courage to start a podcast. but not only start it, be consistent with it on a weekly basis to put in the work and put in the effort to get it done. So I admire that and I commend you for that as well.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So
Mhm.
my final question to you is, we are all about Create the Courage to Be Fearless podcast. What is your definition of courage?
I think my definition of courage is to feel the fear and do it anyway. Because you're going, like I said earlier, about, when you first have the courage to send back the burger when they don't get it right, you still feel nervous. And there's a myth that says, you at some point you're not going to feel nervous. You're not going to be feared. You're not going to be scared. You're going to be scared, but you have to be scared. Be scared and do it anyway. So just feel the fear and do it anyway. That's my definition of courage.